Longtime fans of this channel will know that I am a huge fan of Earthbound, a quirky RPG that set itself apart from its contemporaries by having a modern setting and having a good sense of humor throughout. But as I sit, replaying this classic about psychic children saving the world from aliens, I'm starting to notice a few things that I have questions about, like the first boss, Frank, leader of the Sharks, a street gang that patrols the hometown of Ness. He apparently has some kind of plan to take over the world with a wooden robot he's assembled. My question is, how old is Frank meant to be here? He seems to have some kind of engineering expertise, as he's able to build a robot, even if he did it out of very strange materials. And looking at his sprite in the boss fight, it appears as though he has a receding hairline. But at the same time, he's leading a gang of teenagers, and there's not really a way to interpret that doesn't come off at least a little creepy. But then to add even more confusion to this, after you finish the game, you can come back and talk to him, and he'll actually state that he's still underage, which really just leads to more questions. But moving on. After you wrap up everything in Ness's hometown, you move on to Tucson. And here we find one of the game's more pointless mechanics. You can get a bike for Ness to ride around on. This will make him move around the map a lot quicker, which is great, but unfortunately there's a catch. You can only use the bike outside, fair enough, and you can only use it when Ness is alone. So once Paula joins your party, the bike becomes completely useless. But even before that, you can get teddy bears to act as just dummies in your party to absorb damage. And you can't ride the bike if you have a teddy bear following you. And the bicycle takes up an inventory slot, and your inventory in Earthbound is extremely limited, so space is at a very high premium. So I truly am at a loss as to why the bicycle was even included in this game. As even in the brief time when you could hypothetically use it, it's really putting you at a disadvantage to do so. Earlier I mentioned Paula joining Ness and completely destroying any use the bicycle may have had. Before she joins you, you have to fight a cult. The cult of Happyism. I just have one question about this cult, because they're not in Tucson. They're in a little tiny village, which they apparently own, Happy Village. And when you enter their main compound, you will see that there is a rather impressive number of members. But I'm just curious, where did all these members come from exactly? The village is very small, with very few buildings. The nearest city would of course be Tucson, but they don't seem to have any kind of presence there doing recruiting or any such. So how does this cult have this many members? I know they're being mind-controlled by a statue, but they'd have to actually get to the statue first. And once you fight their leader, apparently the mind control is instantly broken, and most of them are just gone. And I'm just curious, where did all these members come from? And then where did they go so quickly? But regardless, after this, you can go save Paula, find another important location, and then you can go save the Blues Brothers. I mean the Runaway Five. Maybe we'll talk about them some other time. Please do subscribe, comment, like, and tell your friends.